The Whispers of Love. In the quiet rhythm of daily existence, where routine blends into monotony, an unseen force calls out to the restless soul. The mind seeks security, yet the heart longs for something more, something boundless, untamed. In this silent struggle, an unexpected journey unfolds, one that transcends time and space. It is a journey of discovery, where the echoes of love whisper through ancient words, inviting the soul to dance between the seen and unseen, between fear and freedom. This is the tale of transformation, of a heart awakened by love in its purest form, a love that knows no borders, no conditions, and no limits. Chapter 1. The Awakening. In a small town nestled between modernity and tradition, a woman named Eleanor lived a life of quiet predictability. A devoted wife, a caring mother, and a meticulous editor, she had spent years curating the words of others while silencing her own desires. Her world was neatly arranged, yet something within her felt unsettled, as if an unseen wind stirred the still waters of her heart. One day, a manuscript arrived on her desk, sent by a historian exploring the wisdom of an ancient mystic. The pages were filled with letters, poetry, and stories that spoke of a love unlike any she had known. A love not bound by romance, but one that transcended human longing. Intrigued, she turned the pages, drawn into the world of a wandering sage named Rumi and his enigmatic companion, Shams. As Eleanor read, she felt something stir deep within her, a longing for truth, for meaning beyond the roles she had played for so long. The words on the page seemed to speak directly to her soul, whispering secrets she had always known, but never dared to acknowledge. Her life was about to change in ways she could never have imagined. Chapter 2. A Meeting Beyond Time. Centuries before Eleanor's time, in the bustling streets of a distant land, a scholar named Rafi lived a life of certainty. A respected teacher, he was admired for his intellect and discipline. But beneath his composed exterior, an emptiness lingered, a hunger for something he could not name. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a traveler arrived in his city. The man's presence was like a whisper in the wind, unnoticed by most, yet impossible to ignore. Clad in simple robes, his eyes burned with a fire that seemed to see beyond the surface of things. His name was Jalal. Their meeting was brief, yet in that moment, something within Rafi cracked open. Jalal spoke not in riddles, but in truths so raw and pure that they stripped away the illusions Rafi had clung to. Love, Jalal said, is not found in books or rituals. It is the fire that burns within you, waiting to be set free. From that day, Rafi's world would never be the same. Chapter 3. The Bridge Between Two Worlds. As Eleanor continued reading, she saw herself in Rafi. His longing, his questions, his unshaken belief in logic, until love shattered his walls. The story of Rafi and Jalal unfolded like a mirror to her own life, revealing the silent yearning she had long ignored. Could it be that love was not merely an emotion, but a force that reshaped everything it touched? A power that, once embraced, led to freedom? The more she read, the more she felt a connection to something beyond herself. A bridge spanning centuries, linking her modern world to an ancient truth. She was no longer just reading a story. She was living it. Chapter 4. The Fire Within. Eleanor found herself drawn to the mystic's teachings, questioning everything she had believed to be true. The manuscript's words resonated so deeply that she felt as if she were uncovering a forgotten part of herself. Meanwhile, Rafi followed Jalal through the bustling streets, learning not through structured lessons, but through moments of revelation. Let go of who you think you are, Jalal told him, and step into the unknown. One day, Eleanor made a bold choice. She reached out to the historian who had sent the manuscript, eager to learn more. Little did she know, this decision would set her on a path of self-discovery, just as Rafi's encounter with Jalal had centuries before. As Eleanor and Rafi's journeys unfolded in parallel, they would come to understand one truth. Love is not something to be sought. It is something to be found within. Chapter 5. A Leap of Faith. As Eleanor corresponded with the historian, she found herself drawn deeper into the mystic's world. The historian shared insights that made her question everything she had built her life upon. Was love truly a force that could liberate the soul? Was she ready to step beyond the safety of her carefully constructed life? Meanwhile, Rafi's journey with Jalal took an unexpected turn. The mind fears change, Jalal told him one evening as they sat beneath a sky full of stars. But love does not wait for the mind to be ready. It moves like the wind, unseen, undeniable. Eleanor felt the weight of those words as she considered the choices before her. To stay within the comfort of the known, or to take a leap of faith into the unknown? As Rafi stood at the crossroads of his own transformation, Eleanor realized she was at hers as well. And so, the journey continued. Chapter 6. The Call of the Unknown. Eleanor sat by her window, watching the world move outside, yet feeling as though she was standing at the edge of something vast and unknown. The historian's words echoed in her mind, pulling her toward a decision she had long feared. Could she abandon the comfort of her carefully structured life to follow the whispers of love and truth? Meanwhile, Rafi walked the streets of his city, no longer the scholar he once was. Jalal's presence had altered him, shaken his beliefs, and opened a door he could not close. Love, Jalal told him one evening, is not a path you choose. It is a force that chooses you. The only question is whether you will answer its call. Eleanor and Rafi, though separated by centuries, stood on the same precipice. Their hearts knew the answer, but their minds hesitated. Chapter 7. A Step into the Light. The day came when Eleanor could no longer ignore the pull. With trembling hands, she packed a small bag and set out to meet the historian in person. She had no clear plan, only a heart that yearned for something beyond the tangible world she had known. Rafi, too, made his choice. He abandoned the halls of scholarship, choosing instead to walk beside Jalal. To seek love, Jalal said, you must leave behind all that you think defines you. Only then can you see yourself clearly. As Eleanor traveled to meet the historian, she felt a strange sense of déjà vu, as if she had walked this path before in another time, another life. And in the distant past, Rafi felt the same pull, as if his journey was not merely his own, but part of something greater, something eternal. Chapter 8. The Unfolding Truth. Eleanor arrived at the historian's home, her heart pounding. The moment she stepped through the door, she felt a shift, as though stepping into another realm where time bent and stories intertwined. The historian greeted her with a knowing smile. "You have heard the call," he said. "Now, let me show you what it means." At the same time, Rafi found himself in a desert, standing beside Jalal beneath a sky filled with infinite stars. "You have left behind the world you knew," Jalal said. "Now, you must learn to see with the eyes of love." Their journeys, though separate, mirrored one another, weaving together the threads of past and present, shaping a truth neither could yet fully comprehend. Chapter 9. Becoming the Story. As Eleanor delved deeper into the teachings of the mystic, she realized that she was no longer just reading a story. She was living it. Every word, every lesson resonated within her, transforming her from the inside out. Rafi, too, understood this truth. The lessons Jalal imparted were not just words, they were experiences, shifts in perception that allowed him to see beyond the illusions of the material world. To love, Jalal told him, is to dissolve, to lose yourself and find yourself all at once. Eleanor and Rafi, separated by time yet bound by fate, walked the same road. The whispers of love that had drawn them in were no longer whispers. They were a song, a force that had been guiding them all along. And as they embraced their transformations, they became not just seekers of truth, but living embodiments of the love they had been searching for. Chapter 10. The Journey Within. Eleanor felt as if she had crossed an invisible threshold. The historian revealed texts and teachings that illuminated the nature of love, not as a fleeting emotion, but as the force that moves the universe. She saw herself reflected in the stories, in the longing of seekers who came before her. Meanwhile, Rafi's journey with Jalal deepened. Every lesson was not spoken, but lived. To know love, Jalal told him, you must first unlearn fear. Rafi struggled with this truth, for fear had been a constant companion. But as he let go, he found himself lighter, freer, unshackled from the past. Eleanor, too, began to unlearn. The roles she had played, the expectations she had upheld, they no longer defined her. Love was not something she needed to chase. It had always been within her. Chapter 11. The Final Test. But the journey of love is never without trials. Eleanor faced resistance from her old life, doubt, hesitation, the pull of comfort. Could she truly embrace this new self? Rafi, too, was tested. One evening, Jalal disappeared without a word. Left alone, Rafi felt an ache deeper than loss. Had his guide abandoned him? Or was this yet another lesson? In the silence, he understood. Love does not cling. It liberates. For Eleanor, the test came in the form of choice. The historian had offered her a path, one that would lead her to places unknown. But to walk it, she had to leave behind all that was familiar. Chapter 12. Embracing the Unknown. Eleanor made her decision. With the morning light, she stepped away from the life she had known, carrying only the wisdom she had gained. She did not know what lay ahead, but she trusted the journey. Rafi, too, embraced the unknown. He no longer needed Jalal's presence, for the truth he sought had always been within him. He continued his journey, not as a student, but as a vessel of love itself. And just as their paths had intertwined in unseen ways, their stories reached the same truth. Across time, across space, love had led them home. Epilogue. The eternal dance of love. Love is not a destination, nor a single moment of awakening. It is an endless journey, a rhythm that moves through all who dare to listen. Eleanor and Rafi, though separated by centuries, had walked the same path. They had answered the call, surrendered to the mystery, and become one with the whispers of love. And so, the story continues. Not in books, not in words, but in the hearts of those who seek, who long, and who dare to step into the light. The end.